Harry Potter, the Boy Who Didn't Live.
Okay, yeah.
So if we could rewrite the Harry Potter series where I guess Voldemort kills him. And that was a comment we got on our very first episode in season 1. So I thought this would be kind of a cool way to start off season 2.
Yeah, so you weren't the one who came up with Voldemort killing baby Potter.
No.
But
no.
it's there. So may as well tackle it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, let's, like, okay, should I do, like, a brief of what the Harry Potter series is? Just to recap everybody on this thing?
I mean, if you don't know by now. Let's do a quick brief.
Yeah. So Harry Potter's this boy. He doesn't know that he's got special abilities, but he does. And he's living with these normal people, his aunt and uncle and his cousin, and they're really mean to
jerks.
him. Yeah, they're really mean to him. And every once in a while, he'll cast a spell. So then he finds out...
As you do.
Yeah, he finds out he's actually a wizard, and his parents are wizards, but his parents died because there's this guy that nobody wants to talk about named Voldemort. And Voldemort killed his parents, and while Voldemort was trying to kill Harry, Voldemort couldn't kill Harry, and the only thing Voldemort did was leave a scar on Harry's head.
Yeah. Really skilled wizard.
Yes.
Couldn't kill a baby.
I know. I gotta tell you. I don't think I would fail in that. That's just me. So that's kind of like what kicks off the whole thing. So now Harry's going to a wizard school.
Yeah.
Where they're training him to become a wizard. Harry's super famous because he's the kid who basically defeated like one of the most powerful dark wizards to ever live.
Yeah.
And this dark wizard, there are people who think he's dead, and then there are people who are like, no, he's not dead. He's just kind of like in hibernation.
Yeah.
And he's going to come back and
finish what he started.
Yes, finish what he started. So, how do you then, what does this story even look like?
Well, that's the question, because if he's the boy who didn't live, then that means that he was killed as a baby.
Yes.
But then if Harry's killed as a baby, then does Voldemort even go into hibernation? Doesn't he just, like, he sticks around, right?
There's actually 2 ways you can do it.
Okay, all right.
Okay. One way is Voldemort kills Harry and nothing happens to Voldemort.
Okay.
The second way is Voldemort kills Harry and Voldemort still goes into hibernation. Like in order to kill Harry, it still has like a reflect on Voldemort.
Okay.
It kills Voldemort essentially, but then Voldemort in the story uses the Horcrux or something like that. He's got like seven artifacts. I'm gonna get everything wrong name-wise, by the way.
Hogan Crux.
Yeah. He's tied his soul into these different objects. So if he does die, he then can come back through one of these objects, but it takes him a while to like do it.
Yeah. So I think that would be the more interesting way of going. Because if he doesn't die, then he's just hanging out. It's none of the original cast. It would be Dumbledore and Snape and like McGonagall.
Yeah.
Like it would be up to them.
Yeah.
To attack them, and then maybe like a whole new cast of, current wizards.
Yes.
But if he kills Harry and then goes into hibernation, then he still comes back in the 4th movie.
Yes.
Right? Except now there's no Harry.
Yes. So there's no Harry. I think...
Actually.
Yes.
He's on the back of somebody's head in the 1st movie.
Yeah.
And there's no Harry to kill him off of his head, so he might even come back before the 4th movie.
Yeah, he would come back before the 4th movie if no one was there to stop him.
Right.
So the guy that has him in the back of the head, that's like the first Horcrux? You know what I'm saying? That guy one of the objects that Voldemort put his soul into?
I don't think so. I think he was just like a vessel for Voldemort was just a passenger kind of waiting for his own body.
Voldemort just growing off of him?
Yeah,
okay. Yeah. So here's what I think, because I think it's an interesting approach to take.
Okay.
I think instead of now Harry's gone, you don't have Harry be the person. I think instead Malfoy is now the person who is going up against Voldemort. And you can have it where he's being kind of raised to believe Voldemort's possibly still alive. So you could even have it where he's trying to bring Voldemort back. And as he's going through now, and maybe you even get it into somehow into this fourth movie where Voldemort comes back. But while now Voldemort comes back, and as Voldemort comes back, now he's finding out information and realizing, even though this guy's Slytherin, even though this guy holds the same ideals as my parents do, I don't want this guy coming back, because I feel like he came to that realization. The movies were kind of showing whatever his name is, Draco. What's his name?
Draco Malfoy. Yeah, toward the end, he started kind of feeling
Draco's
oh, man,
I don't want to be killing people, and I don't want to be, he kind of holds those ideals that his dad does as a kid, and as he starts getting older, he's almost I don't really dislike Harry. He starts feeling like that. Yeah. So I think he's actually the main character if Harry dies, and I think
that is different direction than I would have taken it.
Yeah,
but I think go ahead though.
I think he should be the one who actually brings Voldemort back. Then he should be the one who also defeats Voldemort.
Okay.
So you could have him, now that maybe Harry's gone, he could have a love interest that's not Slytherin, who's a Muggle.
Okay. Ooh, that's not bad. Yeah.
Maybe he likes Ron's sister.
Yeah.
And I know she's a wizard, but because Harry's gone out of the picture, so who's gonna, maybe he likes her. He's oh my gosh, I really like her. And she's got two wizard parents, but she has different ideals because she's in Gryffindor and she's friends with Hermione.
Right.
Yeah. So she's
That's interesting.
So he's kind of well, how do you rectify this relationship, or me even having a relationship with her when she feels so strongly about this?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm in the wrong here.
That's interesting. I would have gone in a different direction. I would have made Hermione.
Yes.
The main character. I always kind of felt like Hermione sort of was or should have been the main character, where it's if you're watching the movies, Harry and Ron are kind of goofballs. They're underachievers. You know, they don't really go out of their way to try and accomplish something. Harry accomplishes stuff that kind of lands in his lap, but Hermione struggles and she works hard. And she's smart and she figures things out, and then her friends are underachievers, and her parents are Muggles.
Yeah,
and it's she's the one who's one of my favorite intellectual properties is Rocky, and with Rocky, everything in fate is working against him. Yeah, and he makes it happen anyway. Yeah. And that's what I feel like Hermione, she has, these loser friends and Muggle parents, but she makes it happen anyway. Yeah. She just works really, really hard. So I feel like she's a really good pick for a protagonist. And she's also kind of a go-getter in that, she'll take the lead. She allows Harry to take the lead. Mm-hmm. But when somebody needs to step up, she's okay, I got this, and then she pulls something out of her Mary Poppins bag, and so she's kind of, if she needed to take the lead, then she would, and she'd be okay, we have to go get Voldemort. Yeah. I do like the idea of what you said with Malfoy, where it's like he's having this kind of crisis of conscience that is maybe exacerbated by a relationship with someone who has a tie to Muggles.
Yes.
And that would be actually very interesting if Hermione were that love interest.
Yeah.
I never felt like the Ron-Hermione relationship made much sense. But it would make sense for like Malfoy to maybe start out as a villain against Hermione, and then to like for them to have this kind of complicated relationship where they kind of have feelings for each other, and she has these Muggle parents, and he kind of like starts to see the light through Hermione.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like that.
Yeah, I think that's a better approach. So long as people can.
Yay.
So long as people can disconnect Hermione and Ron.
Yeah. I mean, Ron. I don't know. Like, I feel like Ron and what's her name? Is it Lily? Oh my gosh, it's been a little while since I've seen it. There's the blonde, who's like kind of a quirky and kind of a weirdo.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Ron's a total weirdo. And, like,
yes.
I feel like they would kind of mesh and they'd kind of, like, just understand each other.
Lily, Lily's the one who talks like, she talks like this the whole time.
Yes.
She has that voice.
Yeah.
It's like, is she doing that on purpose or does she actually sound like that?
I don't know. But I thought, when they introduced her, I thought that they were going to make her a love interest for Ron. Because it's like, oh, here's this kind of, like, weirdo that, like, people would be like, who is this? Like this kind of like loser, but Ron would be like enamored by that kind of attitude.
Yeah.
But they didn't go that direction, and I was like, well, that was a mistake.
Felt, I mean, I felt like they were setting up the Ron, whether you understand it or not, they at least were setting up the Ron Hermione thing.
Yeah.
Where they were kind of having moments where, like, hey, people were hugging, but Ron and Hermione were kind of like, ugh, from each other,
Yeah.
It's like, they like each other, and they don't really know how to, like, express it. But what Harry and Ron's sister, I don't know what her name is, I didn't see that one coming at all. That just all of a sudden happened.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay, that was weird, because Harry was into that other girl for a long time. Like there was like a whole movie where he's into her, and then like nothing happened. And then after that movie, they just never. There was like never a reconnection. It was just like, oh, okay, whatever. We kissed, and then we were like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
We're done. I was like, okay. So I don't know. I can go into all the problems I have with the Harry Potter series, but I don't know. If that's what we want to do. Or...
Let's do it. Well, first let's establish if Harry's gone.
Yes.
Are Hermione and or Malfoy?
Yeah.
Maybe they've teamed up now. Like Malfoy's realized the error of his ways.
Yeah.
Are they going to have trouble with Voldemort? Because wasn't his problem that he was using a wand that wasn't meant for him?
Yes.
And Harry never would have beat him if he had just used his own wand, probably. Yes. So it's like his downfall is kind of his own fault.
Yeah.
Would Hermione and Malfoy have any trouble with him, or does it end pretty much the same way?
Yeah, it's a tough one, because it's like how I think it's kind of it is,
I think that too.
It's tough to really get into like how would the end fight look like.
Yeah, well, that's kind of that's sort of what I mean. Is like, does Harry need to be there in order for Voldemort to lose?
I don't think so. This is really my issue with the Harry Potter series to begin with, which is why I think why it's difficult to give characters agency.
Okay.
You know, that's a difficult thing to do, and Harry Potter never does that. Ever.
Yeah, okay.
So, like what you're saying is, like, how does Malfoy defeat Voldemort? And it's like, in the Harry Potter universe, Voldemort accidentally trips and bumps his head on a rock and kills himself. because Dum Dum Door sent like a phoenix with the Gryffindor sword, you know, and Voldemort dodged it, but you know, because he's still baby Voldemort, he doesn't have his balance. With his diaper on, his diaper unbalanced him.
So victory just kind of happens for these people. Like it's not really earned.
Yes.
It lands in their laps.
So if you're asking like how do we actually give the characters agency where somebody like, you know, Ron, Hermione, and Draco actually through their own merit defeat Voldemort? We could come up with that.
Sure.
You want to try it? I mean, what's it called? Didn't do it. Rowling didn't do it, but we could do it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Let me see.
Well, what is Ron even good at? Like, I mean, is Ron going to be able to, like, I feel like his twin brothers would be of more help than he would be.
I think there's a couple. I think there's there's a couple mistakes made.
Okay.
That Rowling made that we can adjust. Okay. So she had the Deathly Hallows, which is the invisibility cloak, the wand.
Yes.
The resurrection stone.
Right.
Right. This is a mistake. It needs what we would do is we would make 4 of them.
Okay.
And each of them represent a house. And in order for them to defeat Voldemort, they have to acquire these items. And they have to bring the houses together. So there's Slytherin, Draco, there's Hufflepuff with Ron, there's Ravenclaw, or whatever the heck it's called, with Hermione.
Yeah.
Then there's Gryffindor with another character.
Okay. Yeah.
You know?
No, yeah. That would be the better way to go.
And these houses don't like each other because they're in competition.
Right.
And Slytherin also has this added thing of we don't like Muggles.
Yeah.
So like there's all this conflict and battle that they have to find a way of, like, we need to find a way of coming together because only a Hufflepuff can find the Hufflepuff thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Only a Slytherin can find the resurrection stone. Only, you know, all this stuff. So it's like now they're actually like, so now you get into this movie where like Voldemort comes back. He ends up killing, you know, Hermione's younger sister or something stupid, you know?
Right. Yeah.
You know, you do something like that.
Yeah.
And now Draco's like, oh, that's what this guy's about. And now it's real. And he's kind of like, I don't want that. I think we made a mistake.
Yeah.
You know? So now they're coming together to actually defeat Voldemort using the Deathly Hallows. You know?
Right.
Which is another thing Harry should have done. Because it's like you had the invisibility cloak the whole time.
Yeah.
But you never used it.
He didn't use it once against Voldemort.
and like you just dropped the stone. The resurrection stone. Like, I don't understand. Did you use it? Did you not use it? I don't get it. Then the wand, you get the wand and you decide to just, like, you know, break the wand and not use the wand.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah. It was love, Harry.
Yeah,
It wasn't the Deathly Hallows.
I also don't understand, like, why, if these things are so easy to break, wouldn't they just be breaking all over the place, you know? Like, when you hit someone with a spell and they're falling, like, wouldn't their wand just explode if they're this fragile where you could just snap it? Like, isn't there something magical about these wands?
Right. Yeah. That's an interesting point.
Anyway. But yeah, I think that's the direction you go in.
Yeah. No, I agree. I do like that, too, because it suggests also that all 4 houses are necessary.
Yes.
Rather than, like, what the movies suggest, which is that, there are these other houses, but Gryffindor is really the best one.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, okay. Like, that kind of sucks for all the other houses. Like, Hufflepuff's, like, sitting there with their Taco Supremes, like...
Yeah.
What the heck, man? But yeah, I do like that. I like that better, where it's like no, like this Hogwarts is a community, and all 4 houses are necessary.
Yes.
So that would be interesting. I do like that.
Yeah, and then it's like, now you have a weapon that you can use against Voldemort that he can't use because he's just one dude.
Yeah.
Who doesn't work with the other houses.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, that's your weakness. And then you're like tying it all into this, like, there's strength in the fact that, like, we are a diverse group of people.
Yeah.
You know? And then you could have that scene where it's like, there's only one, but if you get all of us together, it forms one mighty, that stupid line.
And then Captain Planet appears.
Yeah. Hart.
Yeah.
I would so
Get out of here,
be Hart. I always made fun of Hart, but then when I think about it, I'm like, that's probably who I would be as a Planeteer. I'd be Hart.
What is he capable of? He's like, he talks to a lion or something. Yeah. I've never actually seen him do anything. What does he do?
If I was Hart, I would do something. I'd be like, emotions!
You're just crying at people.
Unbearable sorrow! Just...
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, there's a interesting direction to take it that ties things together and actually puts this whole, like, hey, like, this guy doesn't like this group of people, and shows why that's the wrong way of thinking.
Yeah.
How, like, no, like, as a group, there is power.
Yeah. Yeah, there's strength in community.
Yes.
And he's just going about it the wrong way.
Yes.
He's, like, alienating everybody.
But it also shows how they were maybe going about it the wrong way too, because it's like when you're separated and you're not working together towards this common goal.
Yeah,
you're also leaving yourself weakened.
Because there's so much in the movies where it's like competition between the houses.
Yes.
Like even if it's just like Quidditch.
Yeah.
Or Goblet of Fire and stuff. It's like if there's actual like competition between the houses, it's them kind of pitting each other against each other.
Yeah.
So yeah, it would be kind of more powerful if it's like, no, like the 4 of us working together is actually necessary. I do like that. That's nice.
Yeah, that's not bad, right? And it gives agency to the characters.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I think that's good. Did you want to get into kind of your problems with, or is that your problems with Harry Potter?
Yes, I did want to get into my problems.
Okay.
I'll say this about Harry Potter. I think the world may be one of the best worlds ever created.
Okay, yeah.
Where just like it's so interesting and there's so many fun things to just look at and explore and all this other stuff, like the paintings on the wall moving and the ghosts.
Yeah.
And like there's the girl crying in the bathroom and just like there's all this really fun, cool.
That pervert.
Yeah. The like boarding school for wizards is such a fun idea.
Yeah.
And I really liked the first movie. I think the first movie is still my favorite.
Okay.
For that reason, that it builds the world. Then I would say the second movie is my next favorite. In that it, once again, I feel like those are the 2 movies that build the Harry Potter world.
Yeah.
Then after that, it's just kind of like more of the same, which is fine, great. We're just like there. But also, I think after that, they start getting older.
Yeah.
And they're still playing the luck game on how they're getting out of their problems.
Yeah.
And
it's true.
I think it's Order of the Phoenix is, I don't know, like the 5th or 6th one. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's a scene in it where like Hermione's talking to the group because they have the like where the like Dumbledore's arm at Dumbledore, Gandalf's army, or Gandalf's army, and then Hermione's like talking about like, no, we should follow Harry because he beat the basilisk and he defeated Voldemort, on the back of the guy's head, and Harry's like, whoa, like wait a second, like most of that was luck.
Yeah.
And I got help from people.
Yeah.
And I was like, awesome. we are now going to turn the page on that of like, we are now adults.
Yeah.
And like before, when you're a kid, the fact that you don't walk off a cliff as a child is because you're getting help from your parents or whoever, and luck. There's a little bit of luck to like survival as well. And I'm like, great. Now you're adults. Now you take control over your destiny.
Right.
Then what happens is Voldemort pulls a Palpatine and kills himself by using power. Oops. Yeah, that like
unlimited power.
Where it's like, what? Like, if you're a really strong wizard, you would be able to tell that like this wand doesn't feel right in my hand.
Yeah.
Or if you're using the spells, you would be able to tell like there's like a reflect, happening here that's sort of like hurting me a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I can put this away and figure out how to use it later and just steal a wand from one of my people,
Yeah.
But for some reason, Voldemort can't tell that, like, oh, you didn't kill Harry.
Yeah.
You just kind of like, I don't really understand that part either. Like where Voldemort does the death spell on Harry in the Deathly Hallows. Harry dies, then Harry comes back to life because he felt like it. Like, did he use the resurrection stone on himself? Like
I think, yeah.
Then he could choose to resurrect.
I think the resurrection stone made it possible for him to choose to come back, and he like stops off at that Matrix 3 subway and talks subway. To homeless Dumbledore.
Yeah. So yeah. Drops change in Dumbledore's cup.
Yeah.
Dumbledore's playing the guitar with his like case open, and people are giving him money. So I don't know. I felt like, okay, let's do that. Now these characters they've realized like, hey, we're not going to keep getting away with being kids. Right. And getting lucky and getting help from the adults. Now we're the adults who have to take care of things.
Yeah.
And that never happened.
Yeah.
Because I don't really know why. I think it's none of the books, well, none of the movies, because I only read the first book like a long time ago, but none of the movies really ever have the characters themselves really solving their own problems for the most part. It's kind of the adults. It's the Phoenix coming in with the Gryffindor sword randomly that never gets set up.
Well, that was lucky.
Yeah, and even like there's a scene where they're in the forest and Hermione leads the new teacher who's the bad teacher, the new head of Gryffindor. She's that mean lady who keeps putting the like the rules up.
Who wears all the pink?
Yeah, she's the tax lady. So the tax lady comes, and they're in the forest where Hagrid's brother is there, who's a giant.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, what a perfect opportunity. They set this up. Hermione's going to go over to the bike handles and ring the bell.
Yeah.
Because before, he was ringing the bell and gave it to her. Like, hey, I like this thing. And I'm like, now you can ring the bell, be like, this is how we do it, we got to ring the bell here. And she's like, the lady can be like, okay, ringing the bell. And that'll summon the guy.
Right.
Because he'll hear the bell. And now he can come and help you out.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen.
No, it didn't.
No, instead, the centaurs came.
Yeah.
And rode off with the lady.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? You set it up.
Yeah.
You set it up to do this thing.
It's a Chekhov's gun.
Yeah.
It's a Chekhov's gun, and they didn't use it.
Yes. And I was like, but every single thing in the movies is like that.
Yeah.
And I was okay with it for like the first couple movies. I was okay with it because I'm like, you're kids. This makes sense. Like, whatever. Like love is the reason why Professor with the Voldemort on the back of his head couldn't touch you.
Yeah.
Love is the reason why. Sure, whatever. It's a kid's book. That's fine. Yeah. Like for 10-year-olds, that's fine. Yeah. But as they're getting older, like high school age, I'm like, now you need to start. Now you've got high school readers reading this thing, and you need to start giving them some agency so high school people understand
Yeah.
that you're in control of your life.
Yes.
And you're responsible for your actions. And when things go bad, as they always do in life,
right,
you have to take care of it. You're now you're turning into an adult now. You have to take care of it. You got to do your own homework. You know, you can't have people telling you to do your own homework. Like, you're responsible for your actions.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're responsible for how you deal with, you know, acts of God. You're responsible for that. Harry might not be, but you are. You know?
Yes. Yeah.
So I'm kind of like, I don't know. I think watching through the movies made me feel like I worry for the generation that grew up with this stuff, and they're watching it and thinking that, like, oh, things just work out.
Yeah, like when they have to deal with their Voldemort, their own personal Voldemort, they're just sitting around waiting for Gandalf to save them.
Yes. Gandalf? His name's Dumbledore.
It's Dumbledore.
But
I agree with that.
You know, you can't solve. I mean, you can't solve every problem, but you can try.
Yeah.
And the trying is important, because sometimes the problems that you don't think you can solve, you actually can solve.
Yeah, it's why I like Spider-Man so much.
Yeah. I mean, like us, where we're like, how do you give agency to these characters that have never had agency? And then we actually kind of did it.
Yeah.
And tied it in a nice little bow, you know, that makes sense in universe.
Yeah.
and would also make sense how 4 kids who are like 17 or 18 could defeat one of the most powerful wizards ever, just by like using their unity.
Yeah.
And by finding a way of working together.
Yeah. With their powers combined.
Yes.